Hey everybody, Adam and Danger here with Sports Capitalists coming at you with our Week 17 breakdown, which is weird to say because this is not the last week of the NFL season. We still got two more weeks, luckily, because the NFL decided to add one for our viewing pleasure. So I'm back. We tried to record a video last week while Danger was out of town, and I guess my equipment isn't as good, so that video had to get scrapped, and Danger was by himself breaking down, which is a bummer. I thought we recorded a good video last
I'm
week.
I'm actually super upset about the Niner Titans game because we were like
Oh yeah,
spot on with
yeah,
everything, man. Like make AJ Brown your holy cow, I'm blanking captain.
Captain.
Fade
Yep.
Kittle this week. Like, oh
Hey
man,
Julio Jones.
yeah,
Yeah,
man. I made out like a bandit that game, but I was just like, dang it, man. That was like a really
yeah,
good episode.
yeah. I didn't do much DFS playing this past weekend. I was really focused on my fantasy football playoffs, which I'm sad to report that I lost. I needed
Oh,
Alvin Kamara to have a poor game, and he did, but I still lost by zero point 0.2 points thanks to Austin Eckler landing on the COVID list and James Robinson rushing for 10 yards and tearing his Achilles. So, bad beat
yeah,
to
dude.
end the year for me,
I
losing
feel
by
I feel
zero point 0.2
bad
points for
because
that.
the other episode I made like a lineup for everyone. I recommended James Robinson.
Oh yeah, I
Y-
in the video re-recorded, I said slam James Robinson.
Yeah,
He's
I was
gonna
like, dude,
go nuts.
this is gonna be a monster game for him. And like second
Yeah,
play, he just like got that Achilles torn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do about that,
Well,
unfortunately.
I
So
can report for one of my leagues, I'm in the finals, and the other league, my family league, I'm like second to last. So,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
yeah.
Not This is the first. I usually do about 3 or 4 season long leagues, and this is the first year in like 5 years or so that I haven't won at least one of them. Been
Ooh.
eliminated in all of them so far. So not my year in season long leagues. I did well in the regular season, but just couldn't get it done in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Thanks largely to the COVID crew.
I was just about to say this year more than any year, man. You had to be on your toes and like use your
Hmm.
waiver wire and really pay attention because
Yeah,
of
I did my best,
yeah,
but
because of COVID
James
protocols.
Robinson screwed me. If I would have played anybody else other than James Robinson, I'd be in the finals. But
Yeah, man. Well,
nothing you can do.
best of luck to you next year, dude. You got it.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I needed that. All right, so let's break down the main slate, and I think we got a few more games than normal, because
Yeah,
I don't think there's not going to be a Saturday game. I don't think
we have
because that's New Year's Day, and then I
yeah,
think we're done with Thursday night football for the year, if I'm not
I
mistaken. I mean,
believe.
obviously we just had one, or no, that was last week, or that was Monday Night Football. So I don't think we have any Thursday night football for the rest of the year,
And I don't believe
and
there's a Monday night. We have 14 games this Sunday.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
believe they're
no
just
more. There is still a Monday night game. Ooh, Brown Steelers. That'll be fun. Um, Still a Monday night game, but I think we're done with Thursday night for the year. And then I don't think maybe week 18 will have some Saturday games. I'm not sure, but yeah, quite a big slate, which means a lot of opportunity to get different. So we'll jump into the quarterbacks first. So starting at the tippy top, Josh Allen going against the Falcons at 8,000, followed by Patrick Mahomes 7,800 going against Cincinnati, Tom Brady 7,600 going against the Jets. Some good matchups this week for the top guys. Last week was kind of tough because a lot of the top most expensive guys had some really rough matchups. Although Josh Allen did pay off if you ended up playing Josh Allen last week
yeah.
against the number one ranked New England Patriots passing defense. Really weird to see what happens when the Patriots actually play a functioning football team.
Yeah.
Uh, and then rounding out the guys above 7,000, Kyler Murray, 7,300 against the Cowboys, Matthew Stafford, 71 against the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson is currently marked as questionable. He's an even 7,000 going against the Rams there.
It
Um,
sounds like Lamar Jackson's out for another week.
Out. He's gonna. It sounds like he's gonna be out.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Like it
Okay.
sounds like they're getting ready for Tyler what's his
Tyler
what's
Huntley.
his what's it, what's the second string? Yeah, Tyler Huntley, the be
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, he's still shown that he can get it done, but it's pretty nuts to, just with everything that's happened over the last few weeks, seeing where some of these teams were a few weeks ago compared to now. I mean, Baltimore was first place in the AFC North, and now they're in real danger of not even making the playoffs, even with 7 teams now getting in on each side. But any guys, it kind of in that more expensive range that you're leaning towards?
yeah, man. I would seriously just go back to Josh Allen. Yeah, he's the most
Hmm.
expensive on the plate, and you're not watching this show for us to tell you like, yeah, get the most expensive guys. You know
Right.
what I mean. You know what I mean. But like, I mean, him against Atlanta, like, my God, dude, this should be another like 40-point game for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you're right. It's not just, oh, pick the most expensive guys because they're the
Yeah.
best. There's a reason they're more expensive, but it comes down to in DFS, are they worth their higher price tags? And I agree. I think Josh Allen is worth it at 8,000. I think the only thing you would potentially make an argument against would be kind of our normal, if they absolutely smoke him, do they rest Josh Allen at some point? Especially now that we're getting close to playoff time.
Yeah.
I just took a look. Buffalo is 14.5 point home favorites to the Falcons. So if
Disgusting.
if it's the third quarter, they're up by 3 or 4 scores. Do they put good old Mitch Trubisky in there
Yeah, and
to
it's a home
vulture
game.
away some upside?
Yeah, and it's
So
a home game too.
I think just to touch on that before we talk about other quarterbacks, I think that's an interesting strategy to kind of try and attack um, when you're playing DFS in these later regular season games. Is you have to be very wary of kind of the top seeds, the teams that aren't really in danger of missing the playoffs, and them potentially resting starters at some point during these games.
So
Whereas you could kind of look towards teams that have something more to play for.
yeah.
Um, the in teams that are kind of either on the brink of winning the division or just kind of in that wild card hunt. Guys that I think are a little more guaranteed to play the full 60 minutes. I think that's sort of an interesting strategy I just wanted to touch on. What were you about to say?
No, yeah, no, I was gonna agree with you. Like, NFC is somewhat set, like, in stone, like at least who's in the playoffs, not so much
Yeah,
the rankings. AFC is almost completely up for grabs still. Like, I was on a, I was,
yeah,
yeah, I was checking it out last night actually, and I think there's like 9 teams that are like 9 and
yeah.
6 or something like that. Like, yeah,
There's
it's
only in the AFC, there's only 3 teams that have been mathematically eliminated. Everybody else
yeah.
is still very much in the hunt.
AFC is
Um,
completely up for grabs still. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely keep your focus on those teams too, because those teams still got to compete.
yeah, and just for everybody's reference in terms of kind of those teams we're talking about in the kind of in the hunt on the bubble, and obviously still fantasy relevant. I'm not going to really count like Miami, although unless your boy Jalen Waddle is playing, we could count that. But
He's in. He's in it this
Baltimore,
week. I
there you
checked
go.
it out. Yeah, he played pretty good
Baltimore,
last night too, or
Chargers,
Monday.
Raiders, Steelers, Browns, Broncos, Patriots, Colts. Bengals still trying to hold off for the division win. But then again, you start looking at some of these other teams. Now, I guess, for Buffalo, the only threat would be if they're leading by a lot because they're still not out of the woods yet in terms of leading the division because the Patriots are right behind them.
Yeah,
Um, but again, something you should consider if you're playing DFS in these later regular season weeks, as the playoff picture starts to unfold. I agree with you on Josh Allen. One guy that I think, he might be a little underowned depending on his receiver situation. I think that might sway some people away from him. But Tom Brady against the Jets, uh, you know, I at this point, I don't care who the wide receivers are. The
yeah,
Jets did get it done last week, and I'm very happy because Zach Wilson looked good. But their defense is still their defense, and people talked about, oh, Tom Brady, now he's missing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He didn't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin for 20 years in New England. So that doesn't really seem to matter with Tom Brady and Gronk and Antonio Brown still had good games last week. So I'm really big on Tom Brady this week at 7,600. Him and Josh Allen, I think, are the two most interested I'm in terms of the guys at or above 7,000 there.
Yeah.
Any other guys you want to touch on before we talk about maybe some more value plays, I should say?
No, not really. Like I know it's kind of tempting to talk about Stafford at 71,
Yeah,
but man, again, like I'm glad to see that the Rams basically won without him
yeah,
last week. But like it's kind of like I was watching this game. I wasn't sure if it was like an injury thing or like a decision making thing, and I'm kind of leaning towards decision making now because I'm like there
hmm
because I don't know. It's just strange what he's doing recently, and
yeah,
yeah, I don't want to say like, oh, the stress of the competition's getting to him. Like, no, he's been here before, you know what I mean, on a lesser team, but yeah,
yeah,
like, yeah, I'm gonna fade him this week, but
yeah.
I say that, but watch him score like 50 points.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't say a full fade, but if you're doing multiple lineups, maybe less exposure to Matthew Stafford.
yeah,
Because again, Baltimore's defense, I mean, we talked about how they were a paper tiger for most of the season, and now DraftKings
yeah,
is finally caught up with it because they're ranked 31st against fantasy quarterbacks. Um, Value guys that I like. The first guy that jumps out to me is Jalen Hurts at only 6,600
yeah.
going against the football team. Um, Washington last against fantasy quarterbacks. He is marked as questionable. He was limited in Wednesday's practice. That doesn't seem to have slowed him down. He had a bounce back game against the Giants a little bit. I mean, they held him to 10 points the first time, 16 points last week. Not great, but I mean, just his rushing upside is unmatched. I mean, even
Oh,
higher than Josh Allen's at this point.
yeah,
Um,
and potential to get rushing TDs, dude.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. They just played Washington 2 weeks ago, and Jalen Hurts had two rushing touchdowns. That was the week that he had two rushing touchdowns. So almost 30 fantasy points on DraftKings. So Jalen Hurts at 6,600, I think would be, if I'm structuring a DraftKings lineup, most of them are probably going to start with Jalen Hurts at 6,600. Again, I still like Josh Allen and Tom Brady in that upper tier. So if you can afford them, you can play them. But I think the combined upside with his salary cap relief at the quarterback position, really like Jalen Hurts at 66.
yeah, same here. That's who I was gonna go with, and I guess like maybe like an honorable mention, Taysom Hill. Very same reasoning for Jalen Hurts too.
Mm-hmm.
Like has huge rushing upside. The
Yeah.
reason why if you're new to this, like the reason why we like rushing quarterbacks is because they get more points.
Yeah.
And there's some like good value ones here.
Yeah.
And they're going against Carolina's defense, who the hell knows is what's going on over there right now.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, you're starting. No, it's Darnold. No, it's PJ Walker.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah. It's
but
a bit of a train wreck over there, and it's been a little nice as a Jets fan because yeah, I wanted Matt Rule when he was originally available, and then they didn't hire him and went with Adam Gase instead. Not that Adam Gase was any better than Matt Rule, but just kind of seeing where it's at now and being like, okay, well, we got somebody else now, so it kind of worked out in the end.
yeah,
Um,
I do
to,
have one question for
yeah,
you, and I want to anyone playing DFS in Cincinnati and started the whole Bengals lineup in your league in your lineup last week. Congrats, because I'm assuming you're millionaires right now. But like,
hmm
do we have any love for Joe Burrow going up against it's not Baltimore. Where are they go? Oh, Kansas City.
the Chiefs,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, I think he's an interesting GPP play. I'm not crazy about his price at 6,900.
me neither. Dude, he went up a whole
I mean,
grand. Holy cow.
yeah, I mean, coming off a huge game like that, hard to fade him because they'll have a crazy amount of momentum. But and Kansas City, according to DraftKings, is only 27th ranked against fantasy quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But we've seen a lot of games that tend to be pretty low scoring, surprisingly, with the Chiefs, and so. I think he's an interesting tournament option, but it's hard. I don't know. It's hard to obviously he's not going to repeat what he did last week, but still kind of hard to see the upside just given kind of like the last 5 game trend, if you will, with him.
Yeah.
Um, so not a fade, but I I think I'd rather play Hurts than
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. Um, Maybe even Stafford at 71 over Joe Burrow, but that's close.
Yeah.
Two more guys that I want to just bring up. Uh, and one of them I think is this is maybe just purely a GPP option, but Ryan Tannehill going against Miami. Now that he's kind of got his receiving core back, he still doesn't have Derrick Henry, but I think he'll be under owned. He's only 5,900. Miami is
Receiving
ranked
core,
8.
aka AJ Brown.
AJ Brown,
Only
yeah,
him.
it's his entire receiving core as
Yeah.
we've seen, and that's all he needs.
And no one else.
Um,
Yeah.
we talked about him, or we did in the video before it
The
got
lost
deleted, but we talked
episodes.
about Ryan Tannehill's rushing upside. He had scored like, well, I can pull it up right now. It was something like 3 touchdowns over the last 4 games rushing.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah. I can
Four,
pull.
yeah,
I
it
can
was
pull it
four.
up.
It was 4 out of the 6. He had a rushing touchdown,
Yeah.
and so I think he's got. I think he's got the ability to get you there at 5,900. And then one guy that he might be a little higher owned because he's going to be crazy low price, but Trey Lance might play this week for the 49ers.
He most
Um,
likely is. Yeah.
Most
Jimmy
likely
G
plays.
has like something going on with his thumb right now.
Yeah, and they've got that sweet matchup against the Houston Texans. So um, Trey Lance at 4,800.
I was about to say,
I mean
where is
that's
he? He's
yeah, he's down
lower
there.
than Mitch Trubisky. Seriously?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I was surprised. I was like, I thought I missed him because I was still scrolling. He's under Eason Stick. Yeah, just weird.
Dude, yeah,
Um,
this is a good play, I think.
so, oh no, he's not. I'm sorry, I scrolled down too far. He's right above. He's the same price as Easton Stick, and the same price as Nick Foles. So, yeah, really like Trey Lance this week as like a super value play. Um, just if he's the starter, he's going against Houston. They're going to get it done, and he's got the rushing upside to do it. All
Gotcha.
right, let's move on to running backs and our boy Jonathan Taylor back on the slate at even 9,000. So, Danger, I'll ask you the question that you tend to ask me when it comes to Cooper Cup: is Jonathan Taylor worth it at 9,000?
This is a scary question because Carson Wentz is out this week, so
Mm-hmm.
or most likely is out because he has COVID. He's not vaccinated, so he's at least 5. I think CDC new rules with the NFL. I think he's out for at least 5 weeks, so he needs to test negative like on Saturday or something like that,
Yeah,
and they'll do it one more time before the Sunday game. Um,
yeah,
I don't think that will change much. Like if the backup is in, which apparently they called Philip Rivers to see if they wanted to play.
did they really?
Yeah, they did.
Oh no.
And they called Philip Rivers to see if they wanted him to play. So I don't think that's going to ruin his production. If anything, again, if it's a backup QB, he's probably going to get like 5 more touches than normal,
Yeah.
which is already still a lot.
Yep.
But I
Yeah, I
don't
mean
know. What's up?
we've seen with the Raiders that backup quarterback's still a threat. I mean,
Yeah,
they nearly lost to the Browns' third string quarterback a couple weeks ago. Um, and if Philip Rivers isn't interested, it looks like Sam Ellinger would draw the start for the Indianapolis Colts, the former Texas Longhorn. And he likes to, run it a little bit.
yeah,
So I think that can maybe open up some interesting read option things. And you're right, Taylor would probably get more touches because they want to establish the rush there.
yeah.
And Vegas is 30th against fantasy running backs, so I would still play him, regardless of his quarterback situation. I would still play Jonathan Taylor.
I would too, but I think I think that there are better saving money options out there.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about a few guys under him. So Austin Eckler activated off the COVID-19 list.
Woo-woo.
at
Woo!
8,200 going against Denver.
And
Alvin
you're
Kamara going against the Carolina Panthers at 7,900. Our boy Joe Mixon is at 7,500 against the Chiefs, and Ezekiel Elliott
no,
is 7,100 against the Cardinals.
no,
Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. Um,
yeah,
especially considering right underneath him is Cordarrelle Patterson at 6,900. I would much rather play Cordarrelle Patterson than Ezekiel Elliott.
yeah, for sure. I'm
Um,
actually pretty hot on Joe Mixon again.
yeah,
Kansas City does have a really weak front four.
hmm
And despite what you may think, Cincinnati's O line is good enough
yeah,
to play against this team. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I think it's still going to lean Kansas City side
yeah.
with that, but I mean, if you can't tell, they've been lining up Joe Mixon as a receiver. Maybe that's because
Uh,
the game was like just completely blown out last
yeah, and they
week.
were just
But like,
trying
yeah, they were
stuff.
just like messing around. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
dude, this would be hilarious. Like
Yeah,
in the huddle, But like, hey, maybe they do that sometimes because they want to try out some stuff, and it clearly worked.
yeah.
I'm really hot on Mixon. Elliott, no. Uh, just no. Eckler, because I have Zeke and Eckler on my fantasy leagues. You have to play these guys if you have fantasy DFS.
Right.
You can obviously shop around. Um, man, I'm scared to play any Chargers this week against Denver. Like
Oh,
I know Chargers is like because they played like last time they played against them was just an awful game if I remember. Yeah, 13-28. But at the same time, Chargers, this is do or die for them. They need to win this game to stay. I think they need to win the next two games to be in the playoffs. Like it's the destiny's of
yeah,
the Chargers, so you might want to lean on that and be like, these guys need to win. They're gonna play their hearts out.
yeah.
It's in Chargers. It's in LA, but that's not saying much for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It does say something for Austin Eckler specifically though. Austin Eckler averaging 9 more fantasy points per game on at home versus on the road. So,
Yeah, and
um,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they share time now with Justin Jackson.
mhm.
Justin Jackson had to take the full load last week,
Yeah, just
but
I mean it depends on how the game goes.
yeah,
Are you
so that's gonna definitely cut into the value of 82. Yeah, I'm really only looking at Taylor and Mixon right now.
gotcha? Um, I still really like Eckler at his price.
Gotcha.
Um, so I would say kind of in that upper echelon, Taylor, Eckler, Mixon, Patterson. Those are the guys that I'm the most interested in there. Um, so value guys, kind of scrolling down. Really big fan of Rashad Penny at 6,100 going against Detroit.
Oh yeah.
Lions 26th against the run. And Rashad Penny, over the last he had a stinker against the Rams, but in the other 2 weeks surrounding that, nearly 30 points against the Texans, 22 and a half last week against Chicago. As long as Chris Carson is out and Rashad Penny can stay healthy, I think that's his backfield. I know he had a touchdown, maybe two vultured away from him, but I mean he's just getting an insane amount of work in that offense. So really like Rashad Penny at 6,100 there.
Yeah, I'm actually DeAndre Swift is coming back off of IR too.
Ooh,
Yeah, he's at an all-time low of 6,000 against a really bad Seahawks team. A
yeah,
bad Seahawks team that's out of playoffs. So they're probably only playing for pride at this point, and who knows if Pete Carroll's even gonna play for that. Detroit's definitely
yeah,
playing for pride. You know what I mean?
yeah, for
So
sure. People want to play
yeah,
for Dan Campbell.
yeah, exactly. So like, I'm really liking this play. And again,
Yeah,
this is something you would have to monitor. But again, Justin Jackson at 6,000, that might be a little too much for like, to have.
for the
You gotta
backup.
treat Jackson like Tony Pollard now at this point. I think.
Yeah.
but Austin Eckler obviously has a higher ceiling than Zeke, and
Yeah.
I'm liking Sony Michelle again, man. Like Henry is out
Okay.
now. Acker. Um, he's activated, but he still might not play this Sunday. It sounds super doubtful. So Sony
Okay.
Michelle at
Oh,
50
Acres. Yeah.
acres, sorry. 50 Sony Michelle at 5800. I'm actually really liking too,
Yeah.
especially if Stafford is still kind of underperforming. Like
Yeah.
Michelle is, yeah, I think a pretty good play against this team.
Yeah. I did have one little tidbit real quick about DeAndre Swift specifically, averaging 4 more points per game on the road as opposed to at home. So a little check mark for DeAndre Swift there.
Nice.
Um, two more guys that I wanted to touch on. Ronald Jones going against the Jets. They are 32nd against fantasy running backs. With Leonard Fournette out, Ronald Jones has done well. 9.1 against the Saints, 16.1 fantasy points against the Panthers. So at only 6,300, that's enough to get you there for sure.
And man,
All right.
at that point, man, let's just move on to the wide receivers here. And unlike probably there's tons of value here in the wide receiver positions, I feel.
Hmm.
And oh my God, Cooper Cup is at the very top at 9,500. I think that is the
Hmm.
biggest salary this year
He
for
was 96 against the Packers.
he was.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
And oddly enough, was one of his weaker games. So,
Yeah, only
he,
scored a measly
I
18
mean,
points.
yeah, I mean, that's still, nothing to thumb your nose at, but
Yeah.
yeah, 9,618. That was one of his few games under 20 points this year.
Well,
Um,
I'll ask you this: do you think he's worth it this week against Baltimore?
so I think you're right that there's a lot of value in the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Um, so much so that because of lineup construction, I'm going to say no this week. Um, I think if I had to choose between him and Jonathan Taylor as the top running back, I think I'd rather play Taylor and try and grab some value at wide receiver, um, as opposed to the other way around. Um, so yeah, just that's such a tough price to eat, and I
Yeah.
get it. Baltimore only ranked 28th against wide receivers, but um, gosh, there's just so many other options you can go at the receiver route that I think you can save some money there. Um, Other guys towards the top, Debo Samuel, 8,700, Tyreek Hill, 83. Those are all the guys that are above 8,000. And then Stephon Diggs, 79, Jamar Chase, 76, and so on. So any of the other top guys that you're kind of feeling if you're not playing Cooper Cup, or are you still kind of looking further down the board at the wide receiver side?
The safest one I feel is going to be Stephon Diggs here.
Hmm.
Hill is very boom or bust. Like every week, man. It's just
Yeah.
it's scary to commit that much money on the guy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, man, he's been really boom or bust this whole season. Debo Samuel, you just don't know, with Trey Lance starting, what if anything, his rushing role will get an uptick because of it.
Yeah, it
Because of
depends
Trey.
on if Eli Mitchell plays, which he was limited on Wednesday, so something to
Gotcha.
monitor there.
Yeah, and Cooper Cup, I feel is just too expensive this week against the Baltimore Ravens. I'm really
Yeah.
liking Stephon Diggs against this Atlanta Falcons team.
Yeah, I would agree with Diggs being the safest of
Yeah,
them. Relative, I think, in terms of floor, I think Cooper Cup's floor is higher, but relative to price, I
yeah,
think Diggs would be the safest play.
yeah.
I'm really liking AJ Brown at 7,200. Miami, weirdly
Ooh,
enough,
yeah. I completely forgot.
Miami is eighth against quarterbacks, but 26th against wide receivers. That's
Let's
odd to me.
Let's go,
Um,
dude.
but yeah, I mean, look at, AJ Brown, and he tends to kind of go on these streaks. So obviously against the 49ers, 34 and a half fantasy points, just went nuts in his first game back. And then prior to that, under 10 points for 3 games. And then he had 3 games in a row, 34 and a half, 38, 16. So he's a little boom bust as well, but I think what will help, I think he's got a higher floor since Derrick Henry is out. He'll get some more targets his way as opposed to them, running the ball. Although Donta Foreman's not a terrible running back by any means, but yeah, I think AJ Brown at 7,200 probably my favorite play among the wide receivers this week.
Yeah, same. Sure,
Um,
I could definitely agree with that. What are we looking at for like more like the budgety or budgie
Yeah, so kind
rule?
of scrolling down. Well, while I'm scrolling, I just came across this guy. So in the same game, how you feeling about your boy Jalen Waddle, 6,700?
Slam it in, dude.
Boy, he's been on a tear,
Dude,
huh?
he has been, man.
25, 18,
Ever
31,
since I
20.
gave him the stamp of approval, dude, like he's just been
Yeah,
balling, dude. I love it,
yeah,
man.
yeah. And Tennessee, we talked about how poor their pass defense is, and DraftKings shows that Titans are 31st against fantasy wide receivers. Yeah, I love Jalen Waddle at 67. Um,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Not one that I'd consider a value, but I know how much you love him, so I wanted to bring him up. Uh, Golly, they didn't price up Antonio Brown much. Well, I mean they did, but not to where he
Oh,
should be.
I
Uh,
think he's right where he should be. I mean, it sounds like he got an ankle injury again. He's very
I guess you're
questionable.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was limited at practice, so that's a good sign.
yeah.
Mike Evans, potential to not play again this week. Um, so I mean, if Brown is healthy, I think even whether Evans plays or not, if Brown is healthy at 6,100, I think you got to play him
Oh,
since they're still missing Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette. Um,
yeah. And
and
we.
as always, I'm not gonna now. And I think this is a weird one. The Jets are ranked seventh against fantasy wide receivers. I think that's because they uh, are often losing by a ton, and teams just decide to run the ball on them. But yeah, Antonio Brown at 61. If he's healthy, I would play him for sure.
Yeah, well,
Um,
$100 less, and someone I'm really liking is a Saint Brown. I
I'm
think
Ross St. Brown. Yeah.
I'm over at Saint Brown. Man, dude, this
Mhm.
guy has been just stepping it
Yeah.
up recently, and you got Goff back this week. You're going over to Seattle again, a super struggling team. I'm actually really liking the Lions players this week.
Yeah,
For
and now Goff is still considered day to day,
Oh, really?
um, so something to monitor there. But yeah, I mean, and how did he do last week?
He did really
That was
well
with
with
he
Boyle.
scored 26 points with a
Yeah,
backup quarterback.
yeah, man.
Yeah, okay,
He is
right away
wide
then.
receiver one now, like on that
Yeah,
team.
yeah, I would play him either. I think regardless of quarterbacks, Seattle's defense is that bad
Yeah.
that you could play Brown, you could play Swift. I wouldn't play if Goff doesn't play. Well, regardless, I wouldn't play the Lions quarterback, whether it's Goff or somebody else. But yeah, St. Brown and Swift, I think are really good values at their respective prices.
Yeah.
Um, and then let's see if I can find one more,
I
but
I'll
nobody's really.
I'll give one because I always like this guy. He's also very boomer bust, and he's been kind of bust lately. And at 5,300, I think he can definitely get you there this week, and that's going to be Van Jefferson going against
Okay.
Baltimore. Like
Okay.
Baltimore has just the Cincinnati Bengals game hasn't shown you, Baltimore gives up really big plays, and this is their
Yeah.
big play guy too, like the deep balls here. So I think Van
Yeah.
Jefferson is actually a really good play this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was that reasoning was the reason that I was almost going to bring up Odell Beckham Jr. Um, but yeah, I think Van Jefferson at 53. He has been a little more bust lately, you're right, but I think I might lean playing Van Jefferson and saving $400 as opposed to Odell Beckham.
Yeah. Do we like
All right,
do we
so
like anyone
oh, go ahead.
below do we like anyone below 5,000? Like, are we liking T.Y.
True,
Hilton at all? Like,
no,
he scored a touchdown
especially
last week.
with
Oh,
the
right.
uncertain quarterback position. I gave Robbie Anderson a glance, but just so hard to, he's been okay. So for 4,900, 11 points, 9 points, 21 points a few weeks ago. But so he's kind of a punt play at that point. But yeah, nobody else. It's kind of wild to see Cortland Sutton so far down there, but it's well deserved because he's done nothing this year.
Yeah, man,
The
Deshaun
last
Jackson, dude, what happened to you?
Yeah, the last time Cortland Sutton scored double-digit points was week 7. So, uh, gross. Uh, so yeah, no, nobody under 5,000 is really catching my eye this week. Although I've seen some chatter about Isaiah McKenzie this week, or this past week, and he had a monster game against New England, 32 points. Um, so I'll revise it slightly to say that I'm interested in Isaiah McKenzie for the Buffalo Bills at 4,300.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on to the tight ends then.
All right. Up top, Mark Andrews is more expensive than Travis Kelce this week.
That
Mark
is,
Andrews is 7,400. Travis Kelce is 73. That is an interesting one. And then George Kittle
yeah.
coming in at 71. So, if I know we try and go value at tight end, but danger between those top three, which one would you play if you had to play one?
I'm actually, Travis Kelsey, I think,
Yeah, I
for
would agree with
sure.
that. Yeah, Andrews and Kittle questions around the quarterback situation there.
Well, I'm
Um,
not worried about Mark Andrews with the quarterback. I think the Rams are just gonna shut him down because he's kind of the wide receiver one for these guys. Like, who else is
yeah,
there? Hollywood
Hollywood
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah, man, he hasn't been doing
Yeah.
anything
Mm-mm.
recently. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah,
actually kind of.
Kelsey also the best matchup there. Cincinnati 27th against fantasy tight ends.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure. By a long
yeah,
shot.
our boy Gronk is still only 6,200. So
Nice.
I think you can play him there for sure. The Jets are 25th against fantasy tight ends.
Yeah, all the
Um,
action went to Brait last week. It looked like too.
yeah,
I even said, or not, what's his name? Not Brait, Bates. Wait, no,
no, it's great.
no, it is
You're right.
Brait. I even said like, dude, they might do some like sing or double tight end like stuff with all their wide receivers out, and they
Hmm.
did. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Looking at some other guys that we frequently talk about, Zach Ertz at 5,200. He's had a solid floor the past couple weeks. He's scored 13.4 points in each of the last 2 weeks exactly. So that's interesting. Um, Designated as questionable this week. Let's see if he practiced limited practice today, Wednesday. Um, so I think he's an interesting option there. Dallas Goddard still only 5,100. He kind of put up a stinker last week against the Giants with only 4.8 points, but prior to that, he was on an absolute tear. So very interested in Dallas Goddard this week. Washington 18th against fantasy tight end, so kind of middle of the road there for them.
Yeah, and I'm sad to report that while our boy Dan
Oh no.
Arnold was designated to return from the IR last week, he also got COVID-19, which halted his
Oh
return, and
yeah,
he's still on it. He's still on
man.
COVID. Um we don't know if he got put on it Monday. Oh man, like there was literally over 100 people on Monday alone
Yeah,
that got
yeah.
put on COVID, which is crazy. Um, we don't know if he's vaccinated or not. Again, the rules change with that. But
Yeah.
if he is, they are going against New England. He
Yeah.
is 2,500 though.
Yeah.
It
No,
might be a
yeah. I mean,
huge punt play.
yeah,
But
for sure.
what I'm liking more is what's on the other side of the ball, and I haven't mentioned him in a while, and that's my
Hmm.
boy Hunter Henry. I
Hmm.
think this is going to be a massive game for him coming
Yeah.
in this week against Jackson, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's put up some stinkers lately.
Yeah,
1.9 last week, 25.7 against the Colts 2 weeks ago. 0 in that bad weather Monday Night Football game that they had.
yeah,
And then prior to that, nothing to brag about, 3.6, 4.5. So he's a little streaky, but when he has his good games, he has some really good games. So um, I don't know that I would play him in cash, but I really like him as a GPP tight end for sure.
yeah. And I have to say,
Um,
I'm officially off the Cole Kmet train too.
I was literally just about to bring him up. Just
I'm
absolutely disgusting. Another, we
dude.
said law of
I
averages says he's got to score a touchdown, and the
we
Chicago Bears the tight end scored a touchdown, but once again it was old man Jimmy Graham,
Yeah,
just
I know we made a
absolutely
joke
disgusting.
in the last episode of like they're not gonna throw Graham another touchdown pass again, are they?
Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course they
I
do.
really wish that last episode would have gone up because we
I
said exactly that. Like, there's no way they throw it to Jimmy Graham again,
Yeah,
and
he was
boom,
on the
right there.
field for 4 plays.
Yeah,
Two of those targets were one was a touchdown. Like, get out of here, dude.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean he's got an okay floor for 3,400, but I mean how different does that look if he comes down with that touchdown last week? Just
Yeah.
brutal.
If you want to go
Um
Komed, go for it.
yeah, I don't hate it. I still don't hate it, but like how do you come on.
Yeah, I know.
Just come on. Another guy that's a GPP play, I'll say, but he's kind of hard to trust lately. Noah Fant. Um,
Ooh, yeah.
just the big plays haven't been there like they were at the beginning of the year. And his price is kind of gross, but Vegas is 31st against fantasy tight ends, so play at your own risk for that. So yeah, those were the only guys that I was gonna bring up on the tight end side. Uh, since you already brought up Cole Kmet for us. So we'll jump into the defenses. And this is looking like a week that you might want to pay up for defense, although there's some
Yeah.
interesting value options, but most of the more expensive ones are going against weak offenses. So Tampa Bay against the Jets at 4,300, Patriots against the Jaguars, 49ers against the Texans, and the list goes on. So all of the top one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. The top nine expensive defenses are going against offensive opponents that are ranked 20th or worse. Um,
I
so
yeah, value wise, I'm only seeing like 2 plays here. And I'm gonna say Lions against Seattle Seahawks.
ooh, okay,
Yeah, man. They've been besides the Denver game, they've kind of held in there, like
hmm,
above 5 points for
yeah,
24. I'll take that for that price. But call it a gut feeling, man. But I feel like Chargers are just gonna lose this week. And I'm
mm,
I'm actually really liking the Broncos at 26. Apparently they're leaning towards. Oh wait, crud! I forgot. Drew Lock's playing. Uh,
yeah. That might put their defense in some
yeah,
unfavorable positions. I would agree
yeah,
with you. I would agree with you if it was in Denver, but since it's not, I don't know that I would go the Broncos route there. Um, I do like the gutsy Detroit Lions play. I think that's a really interesting one
I
at
just don't like the
2,400.
Seahawks. If you guys haven't like figured that out yet,
Yeah.
like,
Well, and hey, uh, Yeah, so you hate them because they're in the division. I want them to lose because the Jets have their first round draft pick. So I want them to lose
Yeah.
as many games going forward. Um, a couple value ones that I'm interested in. Um, uh, I don't hate the Giants going against the Bears. Bears are the Yeah, I'm sorry. The Bears are 29th against fantasy defenses, so um, the Giants at 2,800. Yeah, they're on the road, but we've seen the Bears offense stink it up a time or two. So I think that's an interesting kind of GPP value play, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, I think regardless of the quarterback situation, I do like the Colts as well going against the Raiders at home at 2,900. Uh, I think their defense. We've talked about it how they're better than what they've been given credit for, um, and their defense has some upside. They didn't get it done against the Cardinals last week, but prior to that, 14 points against New England, 18 points against the Texans. Um, so
Ooh.
I do really like the Colts defense, and Vegas is slipping a little bit. Did they lose to the uh or did they beat the Broncos last week? I can't remember, but I again they
Who?
nearly lost to the
Broncos
Browns'
lost.
third string quarterback.
Yeah,
The Broncos
Broncos
lost.
lost.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the Raiders do have a little bit of momentum going their way, um, which is nice to see given the season off season stuff that they've been cursed with,
Yeah.
um, but I still like the Colts defense at home against the Raiders
Yeah.
specifically for only 2,900.
I would definitely
So
have to
those are
agree
kind of
with
my
you there.
two value plays. But in terms of the more expensive ones, which may be the way you're going to look, um, really like the Saints going against Carolina, especially if Taysom Hill does play. He can help control the pace of that game, and Carolina's offense is just a turnover machine, regardless of who's playing quarterback. Um, the Patriots obviously have a long history of making rookie quarterbacks look like morons. So, um, they're a little pricey, but they can certainly be worth it because they can. I don't know what the secret sauce is, but Bill Belichick tends to make rookies look like they shouldn't be in the league at all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. So with that, that's our DFS breakdown, and we'll end it with our normal rapid fire gambling picks for all the degenerates out there.
Let's do it.
Uh, so let's start off with the Tennessee Titans hosting the Miami Dolphins. Titans are 3.5 point home favorites. We usually start with the over under. I'm sorry I messed that one
Oh,
up, but
gotcha. So wait, what was the over under?
40.
40? Seriously? Give me
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that one. And then Titans,
And give
three
me
and a half point
Dolphins,
home
baby.
favorites. I'm gonna take the Titans there. I
Come
think
on.
the Dolphins are on like a 7 game win streak, and if you look at their opponents, uh, not really that impressive. They just beat the Saints' fourth string quarterback, the Jets twice, the Panthers, the Giants, the Texans. The only real quality win in there is the Ravens. So, um, yeah, I think the Titans -3.5 is a gift to end the new year.
Give me
Um,
Dolphins.
all right, you can take
Calling an
Jalen Waddle and
upset.
Dolphins then. The Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Over under is 51. I think that's the highest on the slate.
Yeah,
Nope,
that's pretty
there's
high.
one higher.
Oh, really? I don't know what game that would be. Um, give me over.
I'm gonna take the under on that one. Kansas City 5 point road favorites.
Dang. This one's tough. I don't know if it's
That is
recency
tough.
bias, but yeah, give me the Chiefs, man.
I'll probably take the Bengals +5 at home. But yeah, this one is tough. I would probably stay away from it and just watch it because it's probably going to be a really good game either way.
Yeah, for real.
Um, all right, we will take your Los Angeles Rams visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Over under is 46.5.
Give me under.
I'll take the over on that one. Rams are 3.5 point road favorites.
Give me Rams.
Yeah, I figured you'd take the Rams. Mm, that seems a little too good to be true. I'm gonna take Ravens plus 3.5 at home.
How dare you,
Yeah.
man?
uh, the New York Jets are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Over under is 45.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
That is kind of gross.
Wait, who are they playing again?
The Jets and the Buccaneers.
Oh, under is 45. Yeah, give me under.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, I'll take the under on that one too.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay is 12.5 point road favorites.
yeah, give me Bucks.
Yeah, give me the Bucks. I was happy to be wrong last week because when we did the video together, I picked the Jaguars last week, but the Jets gave a pleasant surprise there. The Buffalo Bills are hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Over under is 44.
Yeah, give me Bills. Oh, 44.
Well,
Give me
yeah,
over.
yeah, I'll take the over there. And then the Bills are 14-point home favorites.
God. Yeah, give me the Bills still.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'll take the Bills to there
Yeah.
too. The New England Patriots hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under 41.5.
Give me over.
I'll take the under on that one. Um, Patriots are 15-point home favorites.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Give me Jags. I think
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll take
within
the
that
Jags
15
too.
points. Yeah, give me
Yeah,
Jags.
I'll take the Jags on that one too. Um, all right. The Washington football team hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Over under is 44.5.
Give me over.
I'll take the under on that one. Philadelphia 3.5 point road favorites.
3.5 point road favorites. Yeah. Give me Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, that one's tough.
Yeah.
I would probably stay away from this one, but yeah, I think I'll take the Eagles minus 3.5. The Chicago Bears hosting the New York Giants. The over under is 37.
Yeah, oh my
That's
gosh.
gross.
Give me under.
Yeah, I'll still take the under on that one.
Yeah.
I saw some like crazy statistic where like uh lower over under games still tend to go under.
Oh really?
Like
Oh jeez.
yeah, it's weird.
They don't
Um
they don't underestimate enough.
yeah, exactly. There's only so far they can drive it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take the under there too. Chicago is 6 point home favorites.
Uh, bu- 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 give me Giants. I think they're going to stay within 3 points.
Six. Okay. I'll take the Bears minus 6. I think they're just the healthier of the two teams right now, so I think I'll take the Bears at home there. Uh, Indianapolis Colts hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Over under 44.5.
Give me over.
Yes, I will agree with that. Colts are 6.5 point home favorites.
Yeah, Colts.
That's tough because I don't know. It depends on the quarterback situation.
I
I
think the
think it,
game plan's going to just stay the same. Give the ball to JT.
yeah. Well, the game plan would, which, yeah, but I think I'll take the Raiders plus the points there.
All right.
Um, I think I'll go that direction. The San Francisco 49ers hosting the Houston Texans. Over under 44.5.
Houston, Texas. Man, that's scary because of the whole Trey Lance thing. You just don't know.
Yeah,
What was the over under again? 40 something.
44.5.
Dang, that's like give me under.
Yeah, I'll say under on that one too. 49ers are 13-point home favorites.
Give me Houston.
Yeah, I'll stick with the 49ers. I think that's pretty nuts, but I think this has big Trey Lance breakout game potential.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's there for it, but
yeah.
yeah,
The Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos, over under 46.
Broncos. Give me under on that too.
Yeah, I'll take the under there. Chargers 6.5 point home favorites.
Dude. Yeah, give me Chargers, man.
I'll take Denver on that one.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Arizona Cardinals. This one is the highest over under at 52.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, no way. Under.
Yeah, I'll take the under on that one too.
Yeah, no way, dude. That's crazy.
Cowboys are 5.5 point home favorites.
Yeah, give me Cowboys.
I'm gonna okay. You're gonna keep picking the favorites. I'm gonna keep picking the underdogs. I'm going with the Cardinals plus 5.5.
Man, I just don't have faith in the Cardinals right now. Plus, I want.
It's tough.
Yeah. Plus, I think it would be hilarious if they lose this game and they're just like kicked out of the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I did see. I wish I would have saved it for this. But I did see a statistic with Cliff Kingsbury, like even dating back to his Texas A&M days, like his first 7 games versus like the final games of the year, and it's like like he always starts out crazy good, and then they end like
crash and burn
really
at the
poorly.
End.
Yeah. So, but I'll still take them plus the points there. Not necessarily that they'll win, but they'll at least cover. All right, I think I know where you're going to go with this one. The Seattle Seahawks hosting the Detroit Lions. Over under is 43. Yeah.
Give me over.
Oh.
Detroit Lions scores 50.
All right. I'm going to take the under. Seattle is 7-point home favorites.
Yeah, give me under on that, though, for realistically. But, yeah, give me Detroit Lions on whatever the spread is.
Yep, I'll take the Lions plus 7 as well.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints hosting the Carolina Panthers. Over under is 39.
Oh man, this game's gross.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Like, is there anyone like actually excited to watch this game this week?
Probably Saints fans because a playoff spot on the line.
Yeah, true. Give me under.
Yeah, I'll take the under there too. Saints are 6.5-point home favorites.
6.5. 6.5. Yeah. Give me Saints.
Yeah, I'll take the Saints there too. And then the Green Bay Packers hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Over under 47.5.
I'm actually surprised this isn't higher. Yeah, give me over.
Yeah, I'll take the over there too. Yeah. Packers 6.5-point home favorites.
How crazy would it be if Vikings get an upset here again?
It would be pretty crazy. This is the Sunday night game for what it's worth. I didn't mean to go that far because it's not the main slate. That's why we didn't talk about any Vikings or Packers players. So sorry, I went a little too far. This is the Sunday night game.
No, that's fine. Give me Vikings.
I'll take the Packers at home there. Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's gonna do it. Everybody, thank you for watching. And if you've made it this far, forgot to put it in the beginning of the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So that we can help grow this channel. Be sure to join our Discord in the link below. It's got everything, any kind of sports betting that you would want, not just football, but MLB, NBA, college basketball, college football, Danger Devils, and esports. I do NASCAR, so anything that you can want, we most likely have it. So give our Discord a follow as well. It's just a bunch of guys talking sports. And then you'll also have access there to our final rankings, shortly before kickoff with injury updates and all that kind of stuff. So everybody, thank you again for watching. Danger, have a great weekend. I will be on the road, so I don't know how much I'll talk to you, but we'll get back at it next week. And good luck in the playoffs for you.
Thanks, man. All right, good luck to you too. Have fun on that drive. And see you later, everybody.
Bye.